Hey guys, Matt here, the broken Supercoach. We're back again. It's Wednesday. Footy starts tonight. Everyone's pumped. I'm sure there's a heap of people just sitting there, last minute scrambling, put the team down, making some trades. Realistically, you don't have to do a lot today. You just have to make sure you've got your Melbourne and Dogs players sorted. But those guys are expensive, so you wanna be sure. I thought I'd drop a last minute video, show you how the team's tracking. Um, it's probably gonna look something very similar to this, maybe one or two changes towards the end of by what tomorrow, I guess, is when we get most of the teams and when we start getting the real rookies named. Sunday or Saturday's rookies or cheaper guys. So it probably doesn't change much more than this, but it has made some dramatic changes since last time around. So I thought I'd be fair to show you guys. I've made a couple of pretty big moves in fairness. So first one, obvious one, I've gone from Lloyd to Crisp. I just feel a bit more confident in Crisp. I think if I remember, Lloyd was what's his name? Lloyd. Either way, he's about. We've done well there. I think he's about 10k more for Lloyd. I wasn't really happy with his numbers, even though Mills and Dawson were probably stealing points, which probably won't happen Dawson definitely won't, but they were obviously taking more points, and towards the end of the season, Lloyd was probably scoring not quite as well. I hate having to drop Lloyd, but if I remember rightly, I think I did a mid-season one, and we got to Sydney's bye, and we worked out whether or not it was a good or a bad choice. Now, obviously, he cost significantly more at the start of last season, but it ended up, I think, being 50k cheaper come the bye. So we would have, we had him for the first half of the season, but we actually would have made money if we had just waited on Lloyd. So I'm making excuses. Realistically, I've gone Crisp, cost basically the same. I like that he's getting a lot of midfield work. I like that he's dual DPP as well. You just never know when we might get an influx of defense rookies, and you need to get them in. You can easily ship Crisp into the midfield, but trading out perhaps you've got a dead spot in the midfield somewhere. So I like that flexibility. Three more premiums in the midfield. Whitfield, I think I said it last video. If you don't have Whitfield, you are actually trolling. So get him in. And Short and Ridley. They're the other two I like. 530-ish guys. Short was nice for me last year. Ridley was good last year. Hopefully he can get that scoring back. I think you'd need to have 4 premiums, and I wouldn't blame you if you had 5 premiums. And based on selection, I still might. Now, I probably will end up with Hinge on field over De Koning. That's probably how it's going to go. And if I didn't have to take Gibcus, I wouldn't, because he's the one I don't like having this much money on the bench. I don't think he's going to score that well, and I don't think he's going to last that long. But I just don't think there's that many options. So they're the 6. If I could get a 5th premium in, I will. It would probably be someone along, maybe Lloyd again, depending on price wise. Lloyd would be the ideal one. If you go into, can you easily do it just like this? Like, let's just say it's someone like this. Yeah, Lloyd would be the one. Stewart maybe. Dawson. I'd love to get Dawson. I think we're all going to have Dawson by the buys, and I think 550 might be the cheapest he's get. That's 100 average, 550. Or 100 break even. So I think that's a really good price for what you're going to get out of Dawson. Worry is he's had no preseason and he's been injured. It's a new team. If Seedsman can go 95 in that role, though, then you think Dawson will go 100, 110. It's only another 50k, though. But, if we're pulling him at the buys at 600k, then it was probably a good choice to get him in. But it's too risky. Worst case scenario, if he drops a 123 times straight through round 1, 2, and 3, then you probably do a lot to get him in, if I'm being totally real. Like, if you're able to get him in, you probably do a lot to try to get him in. I could go Ryan. They're the only other options. Just trying to have a look at some other guys, perhaps. Not really any good cheaper options that I'm big on. Sicily now with the COVID scare. I don't know if by the time this drops, they've answered who who in the Hawthorn team has the COVID. So, but I heard Sicily might be in that. So that could be a worry for some of the guys that have taken Sicily because he'll be out. I reckon it's just the 1 week, but it's pretty disaster. I'm hoping that none of these Hawthorn rookies are in that list as well. So that's the defense. Midfield, I've added the fourth one. Steele, I've added in. I'd love to be able to do it, but you just can't. I can't split these three. I probably can, McRae and then these two, but I think I wasn't comfortable not having Steele. I think I had Oliver at the time. It doesn't really matter. I like Steele, he's my guy last year. He was really nice. I don't blame you if you have all four. I just don't think you can afford it. So four premiums if you count Neil, which you have to count Neil. Neil for 540 is a steal. So, I mean, that's not a pun or anything, or a rhyme. That's just a fact. So, they're the four. I'm going to slap, and these are accurate too. I'll put the V on McRae, but unless, I've said to a few people today privately, unless McRae drops a 200, or, a one, I'll put a proper cap on it, say 180. So, if you put the vice captain on McRae or Dunkley tonight, and they drop 180, that's the only time I'd really be acceptable with you perhaps, let's just say Dixon does get named, with you perhaps putting a loophole deliberately on your bench, someone who isn't playing, a Sin or someone like that, to put him on your bench, who is not named in round one but may play later, just so you can get the double points on 180 or 200 from McRae. But, if he gets 130, you want named players. It won't be worth missing the money that the rookie makes there. So just slap the C on Miller. He's playing against a waffle midfield on, I think it's Saturday or Sunday, whenever they're playing. West Coast are a joke. Their midfield are a total joke at the moment. They're all injured. And Took Miller's just a freak. So I genuinely wouldn't worry at all. Even though he's never cracked a ton, that's really scary. But that's because I think he played him late, or he may not have even played him last year, if I remember rightly. But whatever. I'm not fussed in the slightest. You can check here. They played West Coast in round one. He scored 80. Big deal. Probably tagged him. Whatever. They didn't play him twice. But, if he puts a 150 against just a terrible West Coast midfield, then easy does it. Rest are pretty straightforward. Neil, obviously. Horne-Francis, Dacos. I got both of these. A lot of people have Rao here, and I'll talk about Rao. The people who have Rao are choosing him or Horne-Francis. I don't think anyone's doing Rao and Horne-Francis. And I just think the upside to Horne-Francis is better. I think the risk on Rao is not huge. I think you could probably get 90 to 100 out of him. And if he averages 100, then he is your M8, and that's a good price and that's a good deal. 340, I think it is. I'm just trying to find him in here. There he is, Rao. 50% owned, so lots of people are getting him. The issue is I just can't afford him. Like, I'd like to have him, sure. And I could probably do something like Short or Ridley to one of the defense mid-prices that everyone's getting. Hewitt I couldn't even do Hewitt. It would have to be Chapman or someone like that. And I don't like the way the team looks when you do that. I'd prefer to just go on Francis. And if Rao's good, Rao's good. And if he's not, okay. I'm happy to gamble against 50% of the comp. I just don't think it's... I feel like I'm going to be wrong here, and I'll be scrambling to get him in, but I'm not hugely fussed. What it does mean is that Dylan Stevens sits here, which is a bit scary, but that's okay. I don't think I'm going to leak too many points. Between these four, I should get a reasonable score. Josh Ward on field. Get this guy into your team. Any other notable changes? Yeah, I've gone from Gawn to Darcy. If I remember rightly, Gawn is slightly higher priced. I mean, I'm splitting hairs at 10k, but slightly higher priced. I mean, Gawn, one of these three are still going to get you 115 to 120 every game. The issue is I think the days of Gawn scoring massive points, I think they're gone. So no pun intended, I think they are gone. I think you'll find that he's just going to drop despite him doing 160 here, I think he's just going to be dropping hundreds, 120s, 110s. This is what you'll be able to expect from him. I think the days of expecting, these type of numbers from him when we look at 2020, these type of numbers here, I just think those days I don't think they're real anymore. I don't think we see that out of Gawn anymore. But I think we do out of Darcy. I think we do see 140s and 150s regularly from Darcy. He just looked good. Like 193, 183, 140, 120, 150, 156. This was last year. 120, 129. We're seeing, he's got these lower ones, but he didn't really come on till here. And this is when he started absolutely popping off. Did he get injured in that game? You'd want to hope so. I just feel like the way I see it is I would just be too upset if I saw Darcy cop 150 to 160 every game. People are whacking the C on him every game, and I'm just bleeding points from Gawn only getting 110 to 120. So it is what it is. You take the risk. Grundy, he's the obvious pick because he's 40k lower than the rest. At the moment, it's Dixon here. I think he probably gets named, but I just want that extra flexibility because Hayes will play, and he'll play during the year. And I want that flexibility to be able to pull him out because, for all Ryder doesn't play at all, or Marshall gets injured again, and then Hayes plays a fair bit. And you want the option to take Hayes off of your bench, and actually put him on field. If he starts dropping 80s, 90s because he's their second ruck or their starting ruckman, you want him on field. So I've done this. I'll have Dixon just so I can swap these two around. Whether Dixon plays or not, don't care. You think he will eventually. Forward line hasn't really changed much. I've just gone Taranto to McGovern. I think a lot of people are getting McGovern. He's become a bit of a meta player actually recently. Roll seems there. I think he's very low risk for 250k, and you need guys like this in the forward line again. I just don't think we've got many options in the forward line. I suppose you could try to bring DeConning in on the forward line, but defense is so small. So I don't believe in Dustin Martin. I don't like Will Brodie compared to McGovern. I think it's a fine choice to bring back 30k, but I prefer McGovern over Brodie. Hollins, if he gets named, yeah, sure, I'll get him in my team somehow, probably for McCall or something, but hasn't played, so I don't trust that he's in. I hope that Martin gets named. Baldwin is another one that got named. I'm just worried about his ownership has shot up in the last day or two since getting named. I just think that he doesn't last. His job security just doesn't seem good for me. I think he's a tall forward, if I remember rightly. He's had some struggles with injuries. I just don't think between like Francis and McDonald, Tip and Woody and the guys they've got running through that forward line, I just think if they're fully fit, he doesn't get a sniff. So, and I'm aware that Martins falls in that as well, but the worst thing that happens is that in round 3, you do a correction trade because he's about to go up because his break even's minus 150 or something. Taranto, yeah, sadly, he lost his spot. I just needed the money to get Steele. Felt more comfortable about it. I think I ended up changing here. The money from Taranto to McGovern allowed me to go Steele, and I think it was Short, perhaps. Or maybe I went Stewart to Short, and that money allowed me to go Steele. So, pretty happy with that, in fairness. That leaves me with 2 smaller prices, but I think this is the meta forward line, really. I don't think there's many changes in that forward line. I think everyone has this forward line, or Baldwin, or if you count Dixon. I think if your forward line doesn't look exactly like this, or something extremely similar to this, perhaps with McGovern or Rayner here, then you probably got the wrong forward line. So take a quick look, because that forward line's free for you. The only other one I've missed now is Berry. I'd actually love to have Berry. I just can't afford him. And same story, and this is going to sound crazy, but I just feel better with Horn Francis than I do with Berry. And, well, obviously I can't afford it, but yeah, it just feels safer with Horn Francis. Yeah, I mean, you're just gambling against too many people. I'm willing to miss Berry. I don't think he's a top 8 mid. I think he makes 200k though, which is sad, and I really hate missing that. But I don't think there's much else you can do. Bench. I didn't go over the benches. Sorry, in the defense. McDonald, Saligo, Ho. I'm just hoping Saligo's confirmed. I hope McDonald gets confirmed soon. This guy seems popular. Ho, I think his name is. He seems very popular. I assume he's going to get picked. A lot of people have him. Hoping that somebody appears here around this price point. Otherwise, we're going to be in strife, aren't we? So we'll see. There could be another Hawthorn player, perhaps. But I like that so far. That's the team. Like I said, we're really relying on rookies. I'll slap the V on McRae tonight and see how we go. And if he scores 200, then someone's getting booted out of this team to take a 400 captain score. So we'll see how we go. Best of luck for tonight. Best of luck for the season. When teams drop tomorrow, I'll drop another video. We'll go through. We'll highlight some key rookies, highlight some key boys. But that's been me. Hit a like, hit a subscribe. Thanks again. We'll chat tomorrow.